welcome to episode 2 of Youre Ridiculous. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Luke, and with me, as always, I have my illustrious co-host, Wolfie.
Howdy.
And joining us once again, same as last week, is our dear friend of the podcast, Rainie.
Hello.
And like I said, this is episode 2. Make sure you check out last week. You can check out all of our socials where we have a link to every episode that we'll be uploading. Last week we talked about Netflix's hit show Squid Game, Squiddies. That was fun. And we also went over our favorite video game villains, right?
Yeah.
And we did indeed.
This week... Oh, yeah, we did. This week, we're going to be talking about Toby Fox's Deltarune Chapter 2, as long as a new segment that we're going to be doing called Reddit's Hypothetical, and we'll be ending with a nice little question of the week. Wolfie, why don't you take it away?
All right, that sounds great. So, starting off, we'll be talking about Deltarune Chapter 2. Rainie, you're familiar, right?
I am.
Deltarune Chapter 2 came out a few weeks ago. Chapter 1 came out almost a year ago. I was actually in Japan when it first came out.
I was going to say, it was like 3 years ago, right?
Was it 2018?
That was the original Undertale.
Oh, original
That's right,
Undertale,
that's right.
okay. My bad.
Fool. Didn't know a thing. But yeah, Undertale really took the internet by storm with its kind of meta... the gameplay wasn't necessarily unique, but its meta side of the story really drew people in, and it made quite a fandom. Now, Chapter 2 dropped, and it was pretty good. Rainie, initial thoughts on Chapter 2? I know you didn't play it yourself. You watched Jacksepticeye play it, right?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the walkthroughs. I like listening to other people. Listen.
You can't mention him. He gets free advertising.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yes. But I'm a fan of listening to other people do the voices. It helps me really get into the characters. Because if I do it myself, my monotone ass is just going to have the same voice for everybody. And I'm going to get so confused. But listening to somebody else bring life to these characters is fun for me. So as I'm watching Chapter 2, I right off the bat, I still just love the colors. And I'm really glad that they're carrying through from Chapter 1. And that was my initial. Chapter 2 definitely made me more confused as fuck as to who the hell Chris is, what the hell he's doing, and why he's doing it.
Chris is just vibing. You're so critical.
He is, I know, but I want to know his secrets, because he has secrets. I want to know them.
Oh yeah, about those secrets. Chris
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, by the way.
Yeah, definitely spoilers, obviously.
Pretty much everything we talk about on Youre Ridiculous, we probably have spoilers in some way. So if we forget to mention it, that's on you, because we're mentioning it now.
I feel like spoilers don't count after so many times. Like, if you cared about it, you'd have watched it or played it by now.
That's right. Plus, we gave it a few weeks.
Indeed.
Anyways, continue.
Back to the subject. When I never actually played Undertale. I ended up watching Markiplier and Jackspedicy play it.
More free advertising.
No, it's fine.
Hashtag not sponsored.
That's how the algorithm will find us.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I played Deltarune myself, for once. Chapter 1, had a good time. When I played it, I wasn't that great at bullet hell, so I kind of struggled through it, but I still enjoyed the story. Deltarune in general, it has more story than Undertale did, and I'm feeling it. Every time I go in, I'm anxious. I'm like, I gotta do it right. I gotta make sure everyone is happy in the end.
Did you do a pacifist run, or did you do kill everybody?
I did a pacifist run. I do pacifist / friendly every time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because in the original Undertale, you were punished if you did a genocide run, or even if you killed anyone at all. It was you could never get the true ending without doing some fuck shit inside the files, which I don't know how to do.
Did you in Undertale? Did you have to kill Flowey, or could you?
No. I don't think you kill anyone.
It's a mix. It's kind of a mix. I think...
He kind of self-destructs.
If you do the genocide route, you can do the soulless pacifist route, but it's not going to be the same as originally. Yeah,
it's like the game remembers what you did in your past run.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Which is freaky.
Yeah. And and Deltarune, it's interesting in that how it differs in Undertale. Well, first, you see he tries a bit more different. He, like, spices up the gameplay a bit more. Since Undertale, you could act, and if you wanted to play the game right, air quotes, you could only act, and then dodge the bullet, do the bullet hell section. And the bullet hell section is quite an interesting, like addition to, like, a standard turn-based RPG, because usually you just click your actions, and then you just watch it play out. But in this, you have the ability to dodge the attacks completely, if you're good. I wasn't that good.
Yeah, I think the bullet hell section is interesting, like you said. And if it wasn't clear so far, I'll go ahead and say it right now. I'm not a fan of the Undertale or Deltarune games, and it mostly, for me, comes down to the bullet hell aspect of the game. I just do not like that genre at all. It doesn't interest me. It's not something I want to play. I don't really like being timed for something all the time.
Too much stress.
Yeah, like, I prefer to do things in a game at my own pace, quick as I want, or as, like, chill as I want, and it doesn't give you much of an option when you're in a bullet hell. But I do think it's really interesting when you add it to an RPG like Undertale and Deltarune. I think that's pretty cool.
Indeed.
Not for me, but I can recognize why it's so popular.
Yeah, objectively.
Yeah. I do appreciate it and, like, agree that it is a successful and, like, well-designed game. It's just not one for me.
And then Undertale / Deltarune's main mechanic, acting. He switches it up. Usually, like in Undertale, you act, and that's it. You get some funny flavor text, which you kind of do the same thing every time. In Deltarune, you now have two friends that vibe with you, and you can now act with them as well. Or, like, they learn it. More like Susie just decides she wants to act, too. And then the flavor text, it's always different for every type of monster you come across. There was the I don't know their names, but you can, like, treat one well. There's a lot of monsters.
There's a lot of different names.
Mm-hmm.
And in Deltarune... Yep.
Is acting different? So, as I understand it, when reading about the game, in Undertale, you have these responses that were, like, way more generalized to the player, as in you. Mm-hmm. And in Deltarune, the kind of flavor text responses were way more in line with, like, how Chris, the main character, feels, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so is the acting part of that, or is the acting in this flavor text, like, responses different? Or I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's different. It's different for all three characters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For example, there's one where you fight, like, these big butler dudes or whatever, and you can either use Susie to make them... I
thought you said geese.
Geese!
I'm like, what?
The butler things, they're called swatchlings.
Okay.
And you can either use Susie to make them heated, angry, and it changes their color to a more warmer color, or you can use Ralsei to calm them down and make their color cooler. And so, and of course you have to use either of them, or sometimes all three of you will give, like, a super powered act, essentially, in which you all do the same thing. And then in this time, there's also the attack mode. You can attack, which I never did, except for, like, in the king fight where you had to.
It hurt me so much when you first paired up with Susie, and she would automatically, she had, like, this aggression towards her character because she hadn't learned yet. That hurt me. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop.
causing harm to everyone.
Yeah.
But fun thing about Deltarune, you can't actually kill anyone. Mm-hmm. Like, even if you attack them, they just run away.
Yeah.
That in Undertale, if you attacked them, they died.
Yeah, you actually defeat them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of Undertale.
And how'd it go?
I know that much. It went.
It went.
It did.
But we don't put that
I was
out
present.
Public.
I was there.
Hashtag cancel Lucas Townsend. 2021.
Go ahead, do it. Try me.
Yeah. So, Deltarune Chapter 2, basically you go into the next fountain. A fountain has appeared in the library, where you're supposed to go meeting Noelle and Birdley to study for a project. And of course, when you get there, the fountain's wide open, and it's a cyber world, because it was, in the computer room. Mm. And there's the Queen, who is hilarious.
Absolute star in Chapter 2.
Indeed. She has kidnapped Noelle, sort of kidnapped Birdley, but he's into it.
And
she's like a living meme. She's very memey. Lots of great moments. She's real into potassium.
The fountain was a thing in Chapter 1, right? It changes, the location of where you're playing?
Yeah. Well, someone mysterious is going around opening new, fresh fountains around the town. And that Yep.
Where was Chapter 1?
Chapter 1 was inside, the school closet.
Right. And this one's inside a computer.
Yeah, inside the computer room, yep.
Yeah. Which I thought was pretty cool.
That is fun. And we find out at the end that it's actually Chris who has been opening these fountains. There is a cutscene at the end of both chapters where Chris, who is an actual character, unlike Frisk, who was a blank slate type of character, that they were the player. Chris is not that, and the game makes it very clear that you are not Chris. They rip their soul out, which is their heart, which is what we are as the player. That is what we use to control them. They lock it away, and they fuck off somewhere. And we can't see what they're off doing because we are stuck with the heart. In first chapter, they made it seem all evil, but second chapter, it makes me think Chris isn't that evil after all, maybe. Even though
we see Chris pull out a fucking knife, smile evilly, red eyes, disappears, doing his own shit, and you don't think he's evil? I want to know more about that.
Yeah. No, I don't think he's evil. Yeah, he's kind of a weirdo, but it's established in game, in universe, that he's always been kind of a weirdo, but he's harmless.
Do you see Chris in oh, never mind. I was going to ask him in Undertale.
Chris is technically new to us.
Separate. Alternate universe, I think.
Mm.
Okay, right. Well, for Deltarune.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have Chapter 1 already.
Yeah. And then Chris, well, even when he disappears off into the night, they don't do anything evil as far as we know. We don't know what they did the first night. Presumably they went and opened the fountain in the library and
well, it's like Schrodinger's cat, right? You don't know if he's doing something evil. He could or could not be, right?
I feel like we'd hear about it if he did something evil.
But is opening a fountain not considered evil?
I think it is.
It's neutral.
I think it's evil. I do. No, hear me out. Okay, so we established in Chapter 1 that opening enough fountains...
I'm just here to start drama.
Opening enough fountains causes the destruction of all Darkeners. They turn to stone, that's that. And then Titans come, they're going to rampage everything, and that's when we have the roaring. That's when they say the roaring's going to happen, is when we have too many fountains. So I think that the underlying factor is Chris has a plan to bring about the roaring. That's what I think.
No, because the roaring only comes about if you open a fountain within a fountain, which is what they were so hyped about to do. Because when you go into this world, the world itself isn't inherently evil. The Queen, she is the antagonist technically. She does fight you, but at the end of the day, she's just doing it because she thinks it's going to help Noelle.
So the Queen is different than Flowey then,
yeah,
no?
Flowey.
Oh! Flowey. Crawlies hasn't been in Deltarune. No cameo or anything.
Not yet.
Right.
Not yet, yeah.
Still some chapters to go.
Like 6, I think. 6 more.
Yeah, I saw there were quite a few.
And I just don't think I don't think opening the fountains is inherently evil, because they go in, they make all these friends, and they come out, and everyone's better for it. They've grown, they've changed. Susie was an absolute asshole before she went on this adventure with you, and now she's your best buds.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So, Deltarune is kind of like, as I understand it, a different timeline or
alternate
different
universe.
outcome than Undertale, right? It's when the war didn't happen between the monsters and the humans.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, so, so the world in Deltarune is that little monster world.
There's
a few
correct, theories.
Or are we not sure?
Let's say there's 2 worlds. There's our world, Earth. Above ground, there's the humans. Below ground, the monsters vibe.
Right.
And then in the fountain is like a second dimension almost.
Okay, so that was my question. I was curious about what specifically a fountain is.
Yeah.
Because I think if you narrow in on what that is and get like a precise, agreed definition, I think from there you could figure out if it's good or evil. Because, I mean, I would assume, generally speaking, opening a second dimension is probably not great.
Neutral.
But, speaking of good and evil, I think Ralsei is evil.
I can see that.
Yeah, I saw that on your Twitter.
I did tweet about it. Ralsei
Yeah.
is this little goat boy that is wearing the skin of Chris's brother, who is, like, off in college somewhere. And I just think that he sucks. And at first I wasn't yet.
Rewind a bit.
Okay.
This goat boy is wearing the skin.
Not literally, but
replicating.
He's like a doppelganger.
Okay.
Like Azriel is Azriel is like Chris's adopted brother. Well, Chris is the adopted one.
Okay.
And he is off to college. He went off to college.
Okay.
He's a goat boy because he also comes from Toriel, who is also a goat. And in Undertale, Ralsei is dead. And of course, this is the alternate universe where he didn't die and the war didn't start.
Right.
So
everyone's just okay with him wearing skin?
Well, it's not literal. Well, actually, I don't think Chris is okay with it. I have more thoughts on that, too.
Yeah, I bet not.
But Ralsei, not only his name an anagram of Azriel's name, he basically he presumably looks exactly like Azriel. Just more like fantasy geared up. Because he's dressed like a mage. And
what else clues you off that he's evil?
At first, I wasn't that sus on him when I played Chapter 1. I thought he was sweet and cute. But then we played Chapter 3, and there is a side thing where you meet Spampton, and he's a dorky little character that lives in the garbage can, and also lives in the dump.
I'm Spampton.
And he's like a little puppet. He's like a puppet come to life. And he wants.
So he's Oscar the Grouch.
Something like that. He's nicer. He's like a stereotypical old-fashioned ads, like buy now, invest in my stocks, that kind of shit.
Oh, is he like the radio demon from
that kind of vibe.
Nice. Classic.
He talks in brackets. He says the thing he means, and then I guess it's almost implied like a whisper or a redacted inside the brackets that we can read, but maybe Chris can't hear.
And
he sends you on a mission to get a keygen that will essentially put him in a robot the previous, I think, Lighteners made, that because they wanted to emulate what humans could do. humans in the Undertale Deltarune universe, they're kind of special, and that they can't they have the ability to resist death through determination and a few other things.
Me too.
But yeah, so you get this robot, you download Spamton, and you put him in the robot, and he becomes Neo Spamton. And then there's like the hard boss battle there was one in chapter 1 with the Jevil, and chapter 2 was him. But I didn't think he was as hard. I never actually beat the Jevil. I managed to beat him. And the whole time you're fighting him, he's got like these strings connecting him up to the somewhere. And he's like a puppet. And you're like, as you fight him, you like pluck his strings to try and knock him down. And at the end, he stops fighting you and he realizes, he's like, oh, Chris, you're not my enemy. You're trying to free me because he's confined by these strings. So he stops fighting you and he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, set me free. And Chris, or whoever, he plucks the last string and Spamton dies. Without the strings to control him as a puppet, he becomes limp, lifeless. And you hook him back up to the strings and he comes back to life, of course. And as you're leaving, Chris is upset by what he's seeing because he relates to Spamton because Chris too, is a puppet essentially. He is our puppet. And seeing that freeing Spamton ultimately killed him, you could infer that Chris becoming free of us would also kill him. And then you leave, and Susie's like, hey, Chris, you seem pretty fucked up about this. And Rousey, he tries so hard to just skim right past this. He says it doesn't mean anything, and that we shouldn't think about it. And that's sus as hell. Don't think about it. It means nothing. How can you say that with such confidence unless you know something we don't? So I think that's...
So you never actually find out if Rousey's evil or not, right? You're just guessing?
I'm just guessing, yeah. It's a theory I have.
Do you think it could be introduced in chapter 2 or chapter 3?
Yeah, I think as we go on, we'll see. Maybe he's not fully evil, but he definitely doesn't have Chris's best interest at mind.
Right. I also read that Toby Fox... It is Toby Fox, right?
Yeah.
That's his last name. I know it's Toby something. I couldn't remember. Toby Fox, the indie game designer of both of these games, said that he and his team aren't going to release chapter 3 until they're also done with chapters 4 and 5.
They're doing another bulk drop.
So it's... Right. They want to do a big bulk drop. So it's going to be several years.
I see.
Obviously, that builds up a lot of anticipation. There's a ton of secrets.
Definitely going to be intense.
But we're going to have to wait a while to find out if Rousey's evil or not. But it's a good theory.
And then also, you at some point in the game, you can talk to one of the Spambot things. And they'll make you, like, special tea. And they make the tea based off of your relationship with other characters.
That's cool.
You get really strong tea if you get Susie tea. You get pretty decent tea if you get Noelle tea. But if you get Rousey tea, it's pretty shit. It doesn't heal you that much.
Goat tea.
Goat tea. Which is also
Can you wear the goat tea?
Shut up.
You shut up. So I have several questions that I've already thought about.
Go ahead, ask away.
For both of you. So for those that aren't familiar, for the audience that's listening, Deltarune or if you didn't know, Deltarune and Undertale are scrambled of each other. Deltarune is a scrambled version of Undertale.
Yeah.
And Wolf already mentioned that Rousey is a scrambled name of... What was it?
Of Azrael.
Right. Of Azrael. How do you guys feel about how often that shows up, the anagrams?
I think it's important.
Or do you think it's kind of just...
I feel it is important. I just don't know how. Because Chris is also technically an anagram of Frisk. It's just missing a letter.
Right.
It's possible. I've seen some people say that it's possible that this game, Deltarune, is a prequel to Undertale. And then I know it. I know, but hear me out, okay? I dove a little bit. I thought, wait, what? No, how? Okay. So let's just assume that Deltarune is a prequel to Undertale for a second. So with this, we assume that Chris is successful in bringing on the Roaring. Now, this is making a lot of assumptions because a lot of things need to happen in order. There's like, but assuming that we have our light nerds that have to fight the Titans, let's just say this is a situation that happens. It's possible that this causes the separation of humans and monsters. This is what creates the war, kind of a barrier. Takes the monsters, brings them underground, humans stay up top. But I think it's interesting because some people are using Sans as evidence of this happening. So what people are saying is that Sans is one of the very few characters that is aware that Undertale is a game and that you as a character can make choices. He makes it clear multiple times. He says in one of his text boxes while you're talking to him, he literally says, "Look, I gave up trying to go back a long time ago." But he doesn't refer to why he was trying to go back, how he was trying to go back, and how long ago it was. So then after that, there's a room behind their house that people have found. And if you go in the room, you're going to find police badge, blueprints, and a photo album. If you complete Undertale and you go back and you look at the photo album again, you see the text, you have like a text chain reading, you're going through the stuff. And what basically happens is it goes through and you see a poorly drawn picture of 3 smiling people. And then at the quotation marks after it says, "Don't forget," as like a note written on the photo of these 3 people smiling. Then you go back and you look at the chapter. What chapter was it? I think it was the end of chapter 1. It was a song that was playing at the very end. The title of that song is called "Don't Forget." So even if it is not a prequel, I do think there is some kind of correlation that we just haven't found yet between Deltarune and Undertale.
Right.
Well, we already know that's some sort of like alternate timeline,
we do, but I feel like there's a cross somewhere. It's not just, here's something that's similar to this. I think these 2 games have to eventually cross down the line.
Right, so you're saying they're not parallel to each other. They're at some point going to intersect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that'd be cool. Are you saying they're going to intersect, or that we're in the point of chapter 2 where
I think we're leading up to an intersect, and I think that Toby, our creator, our Undertale Deltarune God is leading up to something, and he's just dropping little things. And I think this stuff has been planned while they were planning Undertale. I wouldn't be surprised if Deltarune was already mapped out in the making of Undertale. They released Undertale, and now they're like, all right, let's keep the plan going. Yeah.
Big plans.
They have that, the MCU planning stages. Phase 1, 2, and 3.
Wow.
Everything. It's pretty interesting.
A lot to think about.
I'm still not convinced Chris is evil.
Chris could be controlled by Kara, if that's how you pronounce it. I think that...
Kara, yeah. Kara/us.
I really think, because there could be a way that her soul could have easily been traveling parallel dimensions, popped into this dimension, and is somehow trying to take control of Chris for her own personal gain.
Maybe, but in the case of the parallel, Chris is basically alternate universe Kara. That's true. It's just they're the Kara that didn't get sick and almost die, and then eventually lead to actual death. And I don't, which also, although Kara was also a weirdo, they didn't start evil.
Yeah.
They were
that's
provoked.
True. That's true. What if... Sorry.
I have one more.
Sorry, I'm all excited now. What if Deltarune is a continuation of the experiments of determination that were established in Undertale? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if we were given a choice in the beginning of the game? Remember, at the beginning of the game, you create a character, you name it, you name yourself, and then the game rips it out from underneath you. And it was like, nope, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah. It's like,
exactly.
No,
but Chapter 2, we're kind of bringing choices back. So it's kind of like, I feel like somebody is messing with the variables of choices to figure out how that affects determination. And I wouldn't be surprised if this game is just another experiment of Gasters from Undertale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, an interesting thing about the choices you're given is that Chris reacts to the choices you pick. When you're, for example, when I think it's Noelle asks you who you want to ride with on the Ferris wheel, if you choose Ralsei or Noelle, Chris says it was like a question mark, like they're unsure. But if they say like, Susie, they're like, yeah, Susie. And another time is right after the Spampton fight, when Chris is freaking out. Susie asks, are you okay? And you can say yes or no. If you say yes, they say it like real strained, like clearly they don't mean yes, but they have no choice but to say it. And if they say no, they like yell it as if they didn't expect they'd be allowed to say it. So it came screaming out.
So you think those kind of reactions are towards you, the player, and not towards like just as a response?
Yeah, I think it's towards us as the player, because Chris knows we exist because they can rip their soul out, which is what we are.
Right. How do you feel about the sort of... It's not quite breaking the fourth wall like it is with Sans, because he clearly does it.
Yeah.
But something like how Chris knows we exist, we, the player, knows... He knows we exist. How do you guys feel about that? Because I think it's really interesting.
I like it.
I think it's interesting when it's not clear cut and it's not like with Sans where he like knows we exist. This, from what I can tell from like just you guys, again, I haven't played Deltarune, but from what it sounds like, he's like more apprehensive and is like hinting to you that he knows that we exist.
Yeah. He may not know what we are, but he knows something is controlling.
He knows there's something like quote greater than himself or
That's
whatever.
That's so weird.
How do you guys feel about that?
I think, oh man, it's a great segue into something else, but it's creepy and I like it because if you know the Snowgrave route, Rainie, in that one, in the Snowgrave route, you are essentially going hard against everything Chris believes in, and as you continue to go so against what he would normally do, there's you see even more separation between Chris and the player. Chris is like disgusted by what you're doing because you technically can't kill in Deltarune, as I said earlier, but when Noelle joins your party, she can kill. She has her freeze move that freezes the monsters, which essentially kills them because it can't be reversed and they can't get out. And as you keep pushing Noelle to like, oh, you're getting stronger, this is a good thing, this is fine, you, the player, start directly talking to Noelle. I guess sort of in Chris's voice, but she comments that it's not quite Chris's voice. Because she just assumes Chris is the one always talking to her. There's a cutscene where, at the end, after you've completed the Snowgrave route, you have killed Birdley, essentially. And Noelle leaves at that point because she's just so shocked by what she's done. And at the end, as Chris is closing the fountain, it's a different kind of cutscene. They close the fountain alone at the end of the Snowgrave route. And Spampton comes to rock their shit because he still wants their soul so that he can ascend. And as you're fighting, as you're acting, you have to act to beat him again. There's an option to call for help. And Chris calls out for Susie and Ralsei, but you, the player, speak directly to Noelle, who is off miles away and says, like, get over here. And she comes and she kills Spampton for you. And the fact that you can still communicate with Noelle just as Chris's voice, it's like, you can't deny that you are now separate entities.
Yeah. I think it's cool when the in-game characters know you, the player, in this way. Like how they know something, but it's not communicated towards you, and it's not like super obvious.
Yeah.
It makes you pay more attention to the game, and all the like many routes that Deltarune has and everything, which I definitely appreciate.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I think the game does really well. It like makes you replay it if you want the most information, and makes you really pay attention to it every time.
Yeah, gotta look out for all the side things, all the little comments characters make. And I find the final thing about like that sort of meta part is the characters that kind of explicitly know they're in a game. You got Sans, of course. And then you have Jevil, which is the super hard boss in Chapter 1. He's been locked away because he came across the knowledge, the theories say from Gaster himself, that this is a game. And now that he has been blessed with the knowledge that this is a game, he feels that now nothing matters. He can do whatever he wants. So he ends up locked away. And then in Spamton, he hasn't quite connected the dots, but he's getting there, that there's something more going on with their world, and he wants to reach that point. Lots of weird stuff. Go all around.
If I remember correctly, I didn't play. This one I read. Is it true that Birdley does not wake up? Isn't he unconscious when you return back to the world if you go the route where Noelle goes on like a killing spree? Yeah. Yeah,
he is presumed maybe not quite dead, because they are monsters, and they establish monsters turn to dust when they die. But he's effectively dead, because the world that he died in doesn't exist, so his consciousness is just kind of trapped somewhere. And the game specifically comments that he just looks like he's sleeping, and it's implied that Chris put his body in the utility closet that's also in that room, and shut it off.
That's insane.
Sounds like it would be hell to live in this world.
Oh, a lot going on.
All right. What's everyone's final thoughts on Deltarune? How do you guys like it?
Lovely. Can't wait for Chapter 3. Even though we're going to have to wait ages for it.
I think it'll be worth the wait.
There's obviously a lot to consider about the game, and all of its very different branching paths and everything.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts about Deltarune in the YouTube and Twitter and Instagram comments. We're going to be moving on to our newer segment that we want to do. It's called Reddit's Hypothetical. Every week, or maybe not every week, but whenever we decide we want to do this, Wolf or I are going to go on Reddit and find just any old hypothetical question that we want to talk about on the podcast for everybody, and then you guys will be able to answer if you DM us on Twitter, or respond to our thing on Twitter about it. Yeah, exactly. Share us your thoughts. And so I found a pretty funny one. Pretty short, but I think it's kind of funny.
Ready.
So we ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Reddit's Hypothetical, posted by Matug. This was 16 hours ago.
Fresh.
Exactly. Only the freshest of hypotheticals for us. So it's... would you accept $7 from Elon Musk if he asked you to eat a ladybug?
Excuse me?
That's the question. $7 from Mr. Billionaire Elon Musk to eat a ladybug.
I would not. Firstly,
why not?
I don't like bugs, quite afraid of them. So I wouldn't want one anywhere near my mouth. $7 is not worth that.
Well, if you don't like them, you can permanently get rid of this one.
No, then it's tainted me. I'm then tainted by the ladybug for $7.
A lot of cultures eat bugs, though.
And that's cool for them, but
more cultures than ours.
I don't.
We're in the minority.
I don't trust bugs.
I do not like bugs, Sam. I am.
They're untrustworthy. They're weird, and they invade your personal space.
You're ridiculous. What do you mean they're untrustworthy?
They're untrustworthy. Have you seen a bug?
Yes.
Look,
my first thought wasn't, this fucker's untrustworthy as hell.
They're strange.
Get the hell out.
They've got all those legs, and they're not in a sexy way either.
Yeah.
They're just bizarre, weird, and their faces.
You're upset about the number of legs because that means less feet, right?
No. If I would need more feet, you freak.
No. The lack. You're talking about the lack of legs.
Nah, it's too many legs.
Oh, too many? All right. So you're saying no, yeah?
Hard. Nah, I need more money.
Because of the bug or because of the money?
Both.
Okay. So mine is it's just too low of an amount. And I don't think there's much to gain to eat a ladybug.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like a grub or something where they're bigger, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if I would realize that I swallowed it. Or it's just too tiny. It'd be like a crumb.
I'd have a weird crunch. I ate a bug once. And that was
what kind of bug?
It was a cricket. And it was like the local janitor had like a bag of them. They were seasoned with something.
Yeah, crickets are pretty popular.
I didn't like the texture. It was horrific.
I've never eaten a bug before, but I'm sure I've accidentally swallowed something while I sleep because I sleep with my mouth open, unfortunately, for my husband.
Sure. Mouth breather. Would you accept this? Or
Yeah, baby, cough it up.
Why not?
Come on. Honestly. $7. That's all you got.
If he can afford the cat boys, he can pay me more than $7.
Exactly. It's about the disrespect too. Only $7.
Obviously, if he's paying
Musk.
people to eat bugs in front of him, then he's a freak, and I know he'll pay for it correctly.
I was hoping that would be like, billionaire Elon who'd be like, hey, can I give you an IOU on this $7?
I'd be livid.
I'm kind of strapped right now.
We'd fight on sight. That's
Opens
the beginning
his
of
wallet
America's
and
Squid Game.
A puff of dust comes out.
Elon offers you money to eat a bug.
Okay, if it was a bigger bug for more money, would you do it?
Well, it depends on the bug.
Okay, do you know what beetle larva is?
Yes, and
you know how do you know their relative size?
Yes. It's too large.
Okay, so but what if it was a big increase in money?
No amount of money.
Real?
No amount of money.
You're ridiculous.
I've tapped out.
There's no shot that if a number was named and it was actual money, not hypothetical, I think you would say yes.
No. If I had the choice between dying and eating a significant bug, I'd die. I'd kill myself. I'd die.
You're like, we're done here.
I'm gonna need someone to animate this where it's just Elon on the street and Wolf is like, nope, and falls over. That's it. Just completely falls over.
I made my choice and I stick by it.
So I say no to this question, $7 for the ladybug, but absolutely I would do a different bug just because I would want it bigger so I could tell that I'm eating it.
Why do you want to tell
for
you,
more money?
Frank?
Because I don't want to be 30 minutes later and I cough out a ladybug.
God.
If it creeps down my throat and then comes back up.
You squish it.
Yeah, well, a lot of, like I said before, cultures eat bugs. This isn't anything new. I could do it.
Survive in those cultures.
You already ate a cricket.
And I didn't like it, and I know.
I was also, I guess I should have said this before, but I was also assuming, or under the assumption that the ladybug would be alive.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And that most of the bugs that he would offer, Elon would offer me would be alive. Yeah. So make sure to keep that into consideration. I would. Let us, Rainie, you said no? Would you do it for a beetle larva?
I'm kind of leaning towards Wolfie with this one. Yeah, I can't do creepy crawlies. I can't do it. I'll move a spider from point A to point B, but stay the fuck away from my mouth.
I can't even do
There's
that.
a popular, it's a pretty common, if anyone's familiar with Survivor, one of the challenges is eating local cuisine, and they don't even get money for that.
Doing it for
and
free.
And a lot of it is just different types of bugs.
Could do
it. Or other gross proteins.
So I wouldn't catch me on any of these shows.
Gross to us. Yeah, you said the outside was dirty.
It is.
All right, well, that was Reddit's Hypothetical. Shout out to Matoogs on Reddit for that gem. Shout out to Elon. If you want to see me eat some bigger bugs, Elon, hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are open, and I'll do it. Now it's pretty similar. We're moving on to the question of the week from Rainie. We're kind of short on time, but we're gonna squeeze this one in here. So
all right. So my question of the week is
squeeze it like the larva down your throat.
So we have, what Hogwarts house are you, and who would you befriend first at Hogwarts? I'm genuinely curious to know from you guys.
So I have a question before anybody answers. Are you befriend as in somebody from the cast? Like the actual characters?
Harry Potter characters. We're talking about actual students attending Hogwarts with you.
Okay. And are we assuming what year? Are we like coming
Yeah, this is like right off the bat.
Like when the
first
like
off,
the
you're just
starts?
now finding out what house you're in. Yep.
Okay. All right. Wolf, do you know, or do you need me to go first?
Yeah, I've taken the test many times. And I'm a Slytherin.
Oh, me too.
Much to many people's surprise, apparently.
I would have guessed you to be like a Ravenclaw or something.
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff. No, but
Ravenclaw or Slytherin. That actually doesn't surprise me.
Oh, well, finally.
Knowing you as I do, that doesn't surprise me.
But it was like an insult. But I
No. It's I'm just saying it's accurate. Like I think the test is pretty accurate to you.
Yeah.
Neither good or bad, you know.
But in terms of characters I befriend, I've never really watched Harry Potter, so I don't know any of the characters aside from like the main three. I'd probably vibe with
which of the main
people.
three would you take?
Probably Ron. Hermione seems like kind of a cunt sometimes.
Facts.
So maybe I should get older.
I was literally gonna say that. I was gonna say that verbatim.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd probably get along great with Moaning Myrtle.
Oh, I bet.
Two horny on mains.
Yeah.
Real menace to the school.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, that sounds good. I've also taken the test many times. Rainie, can you guess what I am?
I don't want to because I feel like I'm going to be wrong. No, because
I want you to guess.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay, Ravenclaw would make sense.
Okay.
Also, Hufflepuff would also make a lot of sense on the exterior, but
okay,
between those two.
Wolf, did you take? You said how many times did you take it?
I've taken it like 3 or 4 times, like the official test too.
Was the outcome the same every time?
Yeah.
Okay, I also took it 4 times, and the outcome was the same every time for me. And I have other people that can back this up. I'm also a Slytherin.
Slytherin crew!
Which is we're gonna slither in.
Oh yeah.
So I'm also a Slytherin. Yep. Turns out we're the bad boys.
That's
Wolf.
amazing.
I love it. It's meant to be.
Oh yeah. So obviously I'd pair up with Wolf, be crew for life.
I guess we got our friend Draco just because of that.
Nah.
Talk
about cunt. I would of the 3, since that's what Wolf mentioned, I would not pair up with Hermione for the same reason. Early Hermione. Later on in the series, she gets way better. So yeah, definitely go there. I think I would match mostly with Ron because he's kind of a goofy goofball, and that's kind of me. So I think I would, and Harry's just too. He's too much. He's too
much pizzazz going on in one little.
Yeah.
I don't want to get involved. I'll fucking die.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be like I don't want the. I don't want to be a side character. That means I can end up dying. I want to be like far enough out of it.
Yeah. My own story. I
want to either be far enough out where it's our own story, or so close that we get the plot armor.
Fair. Yeah.
But like the really good plot armor, not like one of the Weasley twins.
Shots.
Oh.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. So I want the good plot armor, the good.
The good.
Anyways, yeah. So that's. I would absolutely befriend Hagrid.
That's a must. That's a must.
You seem
Fang,
neat.
come here. I'm taking care of Fang. He's mine now.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Dobby.
All right, Rainie. What about you, Rainie? Dobby.
I too have taken. I have made multiple accounts through using multiple emails because I'm a fiend and I need to know the truth. And I'm Slytherin through and through. But it makes sense to me.
Oh, really?
3 for 3.
Seriously, we're a full crew of Slytherin right here. That makes me very happy.
I wasn't even trying to post my results. I'll do it. We're Slytherin through. Yeah. I'm not going to go that far. But you'll have to trust me. You'll trust me.
I would probably befriend Luna Lovegood. I feel like she would be a great friend to have, and I feel like she'd be really caring, and when I'm a bitch, she'll just make me a cup of tea and tell me everything's okay and sit down and watch a movie with me.
Wow.
She would give you the cure to all the weirdo things in your head. all those creatures that her and her dad find out about.
Also, fuck her dad.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, he's coward.
Xenophilius?
He's coward.
What?
That's his name.
What a fucking name.
It's Xenophilius Lovegood.
This is my child, Zoophile. Right,
this is Zuboomafoo Lovegood.
Did you guys ever take the American version of the sorting thing?
I did. I actually did.
No.
The Ilvermorny.
Is what?
The Ilvermorny houses.
Oh, I don't think so.
I took it.
I only took the
once,
official one.
And that was like the Thunderbird one.
I was whatever the wolf one was.
Different song once again.
I just can't remember what it was.
The Ilvermorny house thing is...
No?
I don't like it.
Why not? What's wrong with it?
I don't think all of America would have one wizarding school.
Yeah, probably not. Considering Europe is smaller and has multiple.
Well, there'd at least be 2. One on each coast.
Mm.
Yeah, true.
And they'd have different houses.
That would be like America having one college.
That's right. It'd have to be math. It'd be like the size of a state.
That's what Texas is for. That's the one wizarding school is Texas.
Texas needs its own wizarding school. I don't want any of it.
Yeah, but we don't want... Nobody wants Texas. We can get rid of Texas.
Wow.
Shout out to all the Texas listeners. Fuck you.
Slandering.
Alright, that about wraps up episode 2.
It sure does.
You can respond with any of your thoughts or any of the questions that we asked by going to @RidiculousCast on pretty much every social media. That includes YouTube, that should be our Spotify as well, Twitter, Instagram, kind of all that stuff. It's definitely our Twitter, so if you go there, you can find our link tree to all the different socials that we have, and you can respond there. Make sure to leave us your thoughts, questions. If you have any ideas for future topics, anything pop culture or gaming related, if you have any random questions or anything for Reddit's Hypothetical or any ideas that you would like to see on the show, let us know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, we'll see you guys all next week. We hope you enjoyed this episode of You're Ridiculous. I am Wolfie, Lucas, and Rainie all signing off this time.
You're all of us?
Yeah, this time.
This time.
Oh, we all get to sign off this time?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Ah, good.
You can find us on Twitter and Instagram, not only on the You're Ridiculous official, but actually on our personals. I can be found at Rainbow Does. Lucas can be found at 7 Angry Wasps, and Rainie cannot be found.
Spell angry, right?
Angry.
Yeah,
spelled A-N-G-E-R-Y.
she's got her own. Yeah, the correct way to spell it. Rainie's got her own website.
So that's RainieMayDesign.com. Got my personal site. If you guys want to shoot me any messages or get some quotes for your own art project, just hit me up.
Make sure you spam her with a lot of garbage. That's what I do.
I love it.
Yeah.
I want to be sifting through for days.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and bing that bell.
Bing the bell.
Bing the bell! So you get notified when we upload our next episode.
Yeah. All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.